On behalf of Dairy Australia, it is a very, not sure about a warm welcome, but it is a warm welcome to today's forum. Hopefully, if you stay long enough, you might see a bit of sun coming out across the day. But we're very pleased to be able to host today's event. We have today not just an array of guest participants from around Australia, but also a number of people from overseas. In particular, Lawrence Clerks from Bargain Inn, who's going to be talking later on today, and also Mark Payne from Dairy NZ. And I think, Mark, you've managed to bring along a few New Zealand colleagues. And so welcome both Lauren and Mark, but also welcome to everybody. I think Dairy Australia is particularly pleased to lead this project, and I'd like to really thank the federal government for offering a considerable amount of money through the Rural R&D for Profit program. And so the initial tranche was 100 mil, and I think it's been topped up by another 100 mil going out to the early 2020s. And this project is worth about $2.4 million. There is no doubt that the provision of that funding from a federal government perspective has enabled the opportunity for a whole range of sectors to get together. And I think we've got 6 RDCs, 2 state governments with Victorian State Government and New South Wales State Government and University of Melbourne who are actively participating in this particular project. So I do thank all of those various organisations for getting behind this project. As Steve talked about, this is, I think, one of the biggest challenges we certainly see. It's not the only challenge, but it's one of the biggest challenges that we see right now and well into the future. As I do a lot of travelling all around Australia, and I'm sure this is the same sort of sentiment that we get back from other sectors, when I talk to a lot of levy payers, they are always questioning about the value and the return of their levy investment into R&D. And on the other side of that, we've also got the central agencies, whether that be at federal government level or in various state government central agencies, also questioning the value of investment in RD&E for particular industry sectors. And so we've got this right across the board, people asking, if I'm paying a levy or if I'm putting taxpayers' dollars in, then what sort of value, what sort of returns will I get out of those investments? And as Darryl Quinlivan, who heads up Department of Ag, would say, we need to be ready on an annual basis to be able to articulate that return and that value on behalf of both taxpayers as well as both levy payers. And so one of the challenges that we have, particularly at state level, as we've seen over a number of years, state governments pulling back on the provision of extension services, we've seen the rise of private sector extension. And that's a good thing, but it also does create some challenges, and every sector is very different in terms of the provision of public funds versus private funds. So the challenge for us is, how do we coordinate across the private sector, the public sector, and coordinate so that the research that's being undertaken across Australia and internationally, how do we get that to farmers? I know Steve always used to talk about the 3-legged stool: private sector investment, public sector investment, and then the role that the RDCs, the universities, the state governments might have in coordinating all that activity so that we're actually getting all the research, the ideas, the knowledge into farmers' hands. And I know Barnaby Joyce always talks about what's the benefit to the farmer. And we know that if we've got profitable dairy farmers, we're going to see growth. And so ultimately, the reason that we're here is, how can we help improve profitability in the farming sector? How can we help improve capability and knowledge within the farming sector, so in turn that drives improved profitability at the farm gate, which in turn drives profitability from an agriculture sector perspective. So this project, I think, is pivotally important. As we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years, a rapid rise in private sector engagement in extension. As we've seen reduced funds, certainly from a many state government perspective. And I think Mark would probably say, and I know we see this in Europe, most other regions around the world are having similar challenges: reduced funding, reduced resources. So how can we work more effectively, more collaboratively across a whole range of sectors to deliver better outcomes for the farmers that we really serve? So I'm really looking forward to the outcomes from today. I do thank you very much for participating. It's only one event in a whole range of events related to this project. But I think if we're really going to see improved profitability and growth in the Australian agriculture sector, how do we help work more collaborative, better together across every sector to really help realise the opportunities that are in front of us well into the future? So thanks very much for coming along. It's a pleasure to host you today, and I really look forward to the outcomes from everybody contributing. Thank you.